John Calipari, Arkansas head coach, will stop by as well. So has Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk Live, co-host, and NBC Football Night in America. You can find Mike and Chris Sims on Peacock. It's the show that precedes ours, Monday through Friday. Mike, thanks for joining us. And, of course, this is the biggest story, in my opinion, this week. The Comeback Player of the Year award has been sort of redefined or re-emphasized. Now we will never have to worry about a pesky story like Joe Flacco with what he did because he didn't come back from anything other than not being any good. So what is the NFL doing? I know they wanted Damar Hamlin to be the Comeback Player of the Year because he came back from dead. But why are they doing this?
Well, this has been lingering for a while, and it actually started when Geno Smith won it, Dan, in the 2022 season, coming back from sucking. And that goes back to Ryan Tannehill, frankly, in 2019, after his time with the Dolphins, and he wasn't very good. He gets traded. He replaces Marcus Mariota. He plays well. He's the Comeback Player of the Year. There's never been any guidance for the voters on what Comeback Player of the Year means. So they've been trying to make it more clear that you're coming back from something that caused you to miss time the prior season. Now, it's still not a hard and fast rule. It's going to be determined on a case-by-case basis. I've come up with various questions that I've been peppering the AP with, like, what about this? What about this? How about this? How about that? And again, they're not going to reject ballots. For example, if Aaron Rodgers had come back last year during the season after tearing the Achilles week 1, comes back and plays and vaults the Jets to the playoffs, under this new characterization, he wouldn't be eligible because it speaks to injury or illness the prior year. So there's still some stuff that's got to get worked out. The goal is come back from injury or illness, and they need to have, and they've tried to do this, a separate category of most improved player. Then you have an award coming back from sucking and coming back from injury or illness. You've got 2 separate awards. Why not just do that?
Aaron Rodgers can't be Comeback Player of the Year this upcoming season if he's great?
No, this year, yes. This year, yes,
Okay.
Because he missed almost all of last year.
Okay.
My point is, if he'd come back last year and played the last 5 games, which is all Joe Flacco did, and had taken the Jets to the playoffs after suffering the torn Achilles tendon, remember there was that talk, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Maybe I'm coming back. If he had, under this standard, he wouldn't have been eligible. But I'm told they're going to look at it all case by case. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it goes.
I like this as a big deal, you know.
Well, I think it is for the people who bet on it. It definitely is. And there were some people, Jay Croucher with NBC. Jay Croucher had a lot of money on Damar Hamlin winning Comeback Player of the Year. And when that didn't happen, there's a lot of people that bought those tickets where it looked like a no-brainer.
It was the biggest sure thing.
Exactly.
He came back from the dead, Mike.
I know, but the problem is he played like 17 snaps on defense all year, and I think that's what kept him from winning.
Mike, he came back from dead to play 17 snaps.
Yes. Maybe he should have won it in 2023 or 22, the year that it actually happened. I don't know. I mean, because he lived, it was week 17. He lived after that. You could argue he should have been the Comeback Player of the Year that year.
Why don't you name the award after him, Mike?
I think even though his case didn't cause this, I think it accelerated it and cemented it and ensured that the AP was going to make it clear for the first time we do have guidance on what it means to be the Comeback Player of the Year.
Thank goodness. By the way, what is the news with Aaron Rodgers? A lot of these shows, and I know it's got to be clickbait that their metrics will tell them talk about Aaron Rodgers. Is there anything that fans should really be aware of, concerned of with Aaron Rodgers?
Hey, Dan. Some of us are still trying to make money.
Oh, my bad. At least you admit it, Mike. At least you admit it that it's clickbait.
Come on.
I can't do it. But
we're not going to force feed vegetables when they want cookies. They want cookies, they get cookies, baby. Look, here's the thing that was my big takeaway. 2 things. One, I think the Jets handled this whole thing extremely poorly. Just excuse the guy's absence from mandatory minicamp, or do the mandatory minicamp the prior week and make last week a couple of days of voluntary OTAs. Then it's no big deal. This was a strategic and PR blunder by the Jets to call it an unexcused absence. Secondly, from Rodgers' perspective, hey, don't schedule your trip to wherever the hell you went in the middle of June. You've been doing this 20 years. You know when mandatory minicamp is quite possibly going to be. And when he gets in front of microphones and cameras and he wags his finger in January about how next year it's got to be all about winning, not some of the time, not most of the time, all the time. We got to get the BS out of the building that has nothing to do with winning. Oh, you know what? I might run for vice president and ghost the Jets. And I'm going to go on all these different podcasts and spew these crazy ass conspiracy theories, but that doesn't count because it didn't happen in the building. He's very good at crafting a standard and not applying it to himself. Some would say he's perfectly suited to go into politics, which I think is inevitable. So that's the other side of it too. He comes off as hypocritical by not being there because of what he said in January.
How would it go if you met Aaron Rodgers? You
Not well for me. Not well for me. I can't wait to turn 60, Dan. I've done some research. Most states have laws that protect us once we reach 60. So if someone hits us, they get slapped with elder abuse charges. So I'm going to be even more of an ass.
I think you're due for an ass kicking, though, Mike.
I'm going to be more of an ass when I turn 60. But yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers and I have some things in common. I'd like to think I could maybe get through to him and we can have a real debate. But that's the thing. He never wants to talk to anybody who might disagree with him. He goes on all these safe space podcasts and says all this crazy stuff. And the hosts never say, dude, you got to maybe try decaf or, maybe read a different book or everything isn't a conspiracy. I love a good conspiracy theory. I love one, not 1,000 of them. It can't be that everything is the product of some massive government conspiracy. Anyway, can you set it up? Can you broker it?
Sure.
We can do it in Milford. I'll come up, get him there. I'll be there, and he's not far away.
Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live co-host. Is there anything to this Chiefs, Kansas City, Missouri situation?
Well, this is great for the Chiefs. Chiefs and Royals win no matter what, because you've got voters in Jackson County, Missouri, who have said, no way, no how, we're not going to extend the sales tax to renovate Arrowhead and build a new stadium for the Royals. So, fine. What do? We're going to keep our options open. Well, they're not going to relocate. You just have to go across the border. This is perfect. This is the great option for any team that's trying to get taxpayer money. You get two states that are right on the state line, and all you got to do is slide across to the other side and you get what you're looking for. So Kansas passes, the House of Representatives passes a measure to pay for new stadiums for both teams. The Senate's got to act on it, but they're moving quickly. Special session, off they go. Chiefs have a lease through 2030. Nothing stops them from striking a deal with Kansas, but I assume Missouri's going to try to come up with something. And whatever it is, Chiefs, it's great. You have two suitors. They're going to bid and bid and bid and bid, and you just sit back and wait for the best offer, and you pick one or the other. This is great for the Chiefs. They don't have to threaten to move. They're going to get what they want, either from Kansas or Missouri.
What does it mean to the fans with this lawsuit the NFL is fighting right now?
Well, it potentially means that the way NFL games are made available, out-of-market games that aren't just served up on Sunday afternoon by your local CBS or Fox affiliate, that will be revolutionized. It will be cheaper. You might be able to buy it one team at a time if you want the Sunday ticket package, not the whole thing for the whole season. I've always thought something seemed off about Sunday ticket. They market it as, hey, if you're a Packers fan living in Pittsburgh, you can watch all the Packers game. Well, yeah. You also can watch all the others because you have to buy all the others. You got to buy the whole damn thing every week for every team. It's always seemed wrong to me. So if this results in a loss for the NFL, you've got the potential for a major payment that's going to be made to millions of class members, but the NFL is then going to have to change its ways to avoid future liability. So that's and I know the NFL definitely doesn't want me to say this, but all fans should be rooting for the NFL to lose this, because then true choice at an affordable price likely will happen for fans who want to watch out-of-market games.
But we're talking about a la carte.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, ESPN was willing to, according to evidence that came out in this trial so far, pay or charge $70 for the whole package when the Sunday ticket was up for bid a couple of years ago. $70 for the whole year plus a per team option. And there's a document where the NFL makes it clear they don't like that. Because the whole argument is the NFL is fixing the price of Sunday ticket at a level that is high enough that a lot of people won't get it, and they'll just watch whatever games are available to them in their local market. So if you knock that out and you let ESPN, YouTube, DirecTV, Apple, whoever say, we're going to maximize the subscribers to this thing, we're going to give it away. Apple, there was a report at one point, was going to give it as part of their current Apple TV Plus package at no additional cost. So you could get a lot more people and a lot more choice for the consumer if you don't want to watch whatever happens to be on your local CBS station at 1 o'clock Eastern on a Sunday.
Before I let you go, this Brandon Aiyuk situation, he keeps saying they don't want him in San Francisco. San Francisco says they want him. I know that there was talk of Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk, maybe one of the two being traded. So is this just negotiations here?
Well, I think the 49ers really want to hold the band together for one more year, and that includes Brandon Aiyuk at $14.1 million in the fifth-year option of his contract from 2020. They definitely want him for $14.1. The question is, how much do they want to pay him? And I think, Dan, as we see the receiver market kind of start to look like the running back market, where there's so many great receivers coming out every year, you have to ask yourself, which guys are going to get the "we're not paying you $30 million a year" response from their team? Look at what Malik Neighbors, the 6th overall pick in the draft, taken by the Giants, he's getting $29 million for 4 years total. So if you can go get great young receiver, get him under a cheap contract, then you might say no to a Brandon Aiyuk. Only the best of the best are going to get top of the market. And I think Brandon Aiyuk falls in this no man's land. And hey, Dan, if there was somebody else that was willing to pay him what he wants, he would have been traded before the draft. And now I think he's just trying to agitate for something because he knows the 49ers aren't going to give him what he wants.
And Trevor Lawrence's deal, I know Dak Prescott is just saying, all right, let's let the cash register go up even higher here. How does this play out? Is Jerry Jones going to make a good business decision when it comes to Dak Prescott for a change?
Well, for a change is key because they waited too long to get him signed to his second contract. After his third season, when the window opened, they made him play out his rookie deal at like $2 or $3 million, which was laughable. Then they tagged him for a year. And then they realized when they were tagging him the second time, we're kind of screwed here because he's 1 year away from doing the Kirk Cousins thing where he's going to walk away because we would have to give him an exorbitant amount to tag him a third time. So they were forced to do a contract that put them in the position they're now in. Dan, they've got a $55 million cap charge for Prescott this year. And if he leaves after this year, they have a $54 million cap charge next year, even if he's not on the team. Their only way to engineer that and get those numbers down is to extend his deal. That's where his leverage comes from. What Trevor Lawrence gets, what Jared Goff got, what Tua Tagovailoa might get, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Dak has everything in his favor, and the Cowboys have painted themselves into a corner that they aren't willing to find a way out of.
That 18-game schedule is it's lingering. And it feels like the NFL puts it out to get kind of react. Well, you know how this works. It's like, let's let people talk about it, and then you can ask the commissioner and go, well, we're taking everything into consideration here. How real is 18 games?
I think it happens at the latest with the next CBA because when push comes to shove, Dan, the owners will say, we want 18 games, and if we don't get 18 games, we'll lock you out until you agree to 18 games. And the players, as we know, from 2011 and before that 1987 with the failed strike, they will not go a year without football. The owners will, because they already got their luxury yachts and their billions stashed away here or there. I'm not suggesting there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that they can go without it for a year. You're a football player. You've got a finite number of years you can play. We have seen time and again, they will not shut down the sport for a year. So that's the latest it's going to happen. They will cry uncle when it's time for the next CBA. I think the league is currently trying to figure out, is there a way to go to them now and get them to agree to 18 games before the CBA expires? Because I think, Dan, what the NFL is looking at, when you consider what the NBA got on its new TV deals, yes, the current NFL deals go through 2033. The league has the right to pull the plug after 2029 on all of them. And I guarantee you they're going to pull the plug because it's not going to be any worse than what's currently due to be paid to the NFL under the media deals. And if you can go to the table with NBC, CBS, Fox, ABC, et cetera, with 18-game regular season, you get even more.
Great stuff, Mike, as always. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. See you, buddy.
That's Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk Live. You can watch it Monday through Friday. It's the show that precedes ours.